Sprint score is 79. Okay. Could I have a comment from... Let's have a look. Steve.
To me, I think it's very close to an award image. Compositionally, it's very bottom heavy. Perhaps seeing most of that lake or water could help improve the actual image.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print is a silver award at 80. We have a challenge from Steve Scalone, who scored this 87.
Yeah, I scored it a silver distinction, and quite a strong silver distinction. The delicate nature in which this aerial has been handled, the beautiful tonality between the rich bright pink and then the soft subtle texture of the other terrain, and that gorgeous graphic line that's in between there. The tone is wonderful. It's sharpened beautifully. I do think it's a really strong visual communicative image. And yeah, I urge you to have another look at it.
Thanks, Steve. David, you're kind of down in the 70s. Would you like to make comment? Thanks.
Yeah, I do like that line running down the middle to sort of talk about the positives here, and that little niche I thought was kind of cool, but it's the lack of detail in the pink that worries me. I'm trying to work out what it actually is, because it's just to me it's like a solid pink. And then you go down to the bottom left and you've got that bright area where possibly it's just falling away. So the only real detail we've got is top left, and that, I think a different time of the day for me would have worked. I would have seen a little bit more drama, a wee bit more detail, and I think that's the problem for me.
Simone, you're sitting on 80.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Steve, but also from David's perspective as well, I was looking for a little bit more texture, maybe not so much in the pink. I quite like it a little bit flat, because then it contrasts with the left-hand side. However, I think that it might have been a little bit more punchier on the left. I would have actually liked to have seen this more horizontal. The way I see it is sort of like the surface of the skin and actually having like a little pimple. So I guess I like to read maybe a little bit further into it than just sort of like an aerial. So, but yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, thanks, Simone. Steve?
Yeah, look, I think the reason why this image does work so strongly is the lack of directional light, because it is quite a flat, perhaps overcast day. Everything is given its own sort of brightness in terms of element, and I'm actually not that fussed about the lack of texture. There obviously is photographically detail in the bottom left, but that's how the terrain is. And I, yet again, love I really do commend that silkiness of the pink coming through. I feel it's stronger because it doesn't have any texture.
Thank you. So, Steve, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Print now scores 81 silver award. Can I just briefly say that when we're speaking into the microphone, obviously, certain people here have got big, strong voices, and that's fine. And you can kind of hold the microphone a bit like an ice cream, okay? But for those who are slightly quieter, the envelope of these mics work better if you kind of angle it towards your mouth, okay? So rather than talk across it, just angle it slightly towards you, and it will work. We'll pick the sound up a bit better. Thanks. Having said all that, let's have the next print. Thank you all. This print is a silver with distinction at 87. I'd like Russell to make a comment, thanks.
This is sensational. I would just give it probably maybe just slightly half a stop more density, and it'd be even better.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print score is 79. Could I have comment from Kelly?
I scored this in a silver, and I actually really quite like it. And just as a comment, I'd like to award the photographer for something that's a little bit more unique and gritty, bringing in this category.
Lovely, thank you. Next print, thanks. This is a gold award at 90. Kelly, do you want to... You got a challenge? Lovely, that's fine. So Kelly is on 93, so I'll accept that challenge. Now, you're far from alone. Okay, you've got people all around you. So I don't think it's going to be too hard a fight, but let's go.
So just to clarify, I'm challenging this just because I think every point counts, and this one definitely needs to be talked about if it's just sitting at 90. I've seen this before in our print critiques, and this has had a lot of discussion, so I feel like it just needs it to bring it up today. This is absolutely stunning. So unique in a category that is quite oversaturated these days. So beautifully composed, beautifully seen. The colour tones and palette is just absolutely stunning. Like far. What are we looking at? Excited, sorry. High degree of originality, absolutely emotional impact, everything. It sits in everything. 90's just not enough. Let's bring it up, guys.
Thank you. Now, like I said, everyone's kind of high anyway, but sitting as a solid silver distinction is David Oliver.
I'm glad you did challenge, because now I can. Am I on? Is it switched on, this one? It is. Because now I can talk about it, and I'm coming up. It's a great composition. It's fabulous. It's just... I was looking at the right-hand side. That was the only comment I'd make, and I could see some sharpness there, but the left was a little bit soft. But I'm nitpicking, and definitely coming up into the gold category.
Lovely. Russell.
I think this is it's a wonderful landscape that, rather than is literal, is a feeling. It's a mood. It could be taken many different ways. The red earth on the stark landscape, death, blah blah blah. I can just see this hanging on a gallery wall and really selling for very large amounts of money.
Lovely. Okay, write a reply. Thanks, Kelly.
I don't think I've got too much to say. I think we're all there. I just think this really deserves a whole lot more. It's so unique. And there's so many stories that can be read into this, even though it's so ambiguous in its landscape itself. But there's so much more meaning into it that I don't need to even delve into. I think we're all there. Yep, bring it up.
Lovely. Okay, hold your score, Kelly. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. We have a gold with distinction at 95. Well done. Next print, please. This print score is 79. Okay.
Yeah, look, I love the tonal range in this black and white. It's just wonderful. It has a natural vignette. In a perfect world, I'd love to see it slightly angled, so as it's not so horizontal. But it's just the detail and the actual design that's captured there, and the tracks that lead you in and out of this picture. It takes you on a journey, but it's just the handling of the shadows and the highlights. It's just all there. The detail is just wonderful, and it's quite brave to put this in as a monotone. So I'm really enjoying this.
Thanks, Steve. Steve is on 77.
77, yeah. So I do commend the photographer for actually putting it in as a monotone. I do also wonder how much more interesting it could look if it was in colour. To me, compositionally, it just feels so left-heavy, where it just doesn't even feel balanced. And that can be sometimes a great thing to create tension. However, in such a serene example of this geography, it's sort of pushing against it. And that's kind of why I scored it the way I did.
Thanks, Steve. Kelly? who is on 82.
Yeah, I'm in the silver range. All those comments I totally agree with, and I think it should be rewarded for its bravery. But I actually, I'm really intrigued by all the movement within it, and from here I sort of looked and felt very cattle-like and paddock-like. But when you actually move up to it, there is a lot of water in there, which I think is quite a nice little double subjective, double meaning in there. So I quite like that the photographer's seen that and brought that to the party.
Okay, David, write a reply. Thank you.
Yeah, like the black and white does give it a point of difference, doesn't it? And it leaves you asking questions about the water, where does it finish, and so forth. So that's what I'm enjoying, and I think this would work in a gallery as well, mixed with great colour aerials. So I'd like this rewarded as at least a silver.
Okay, Dave, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Print is a silver award at 82. Thank you. Well done. Next print, thank you. This print is a gold award at 90. Simone, like to challenge?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get this up a few more points. I really want to talk about this. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Gosh, it doesn't even look like a landscape anymore, and it looks otherworldly. I'm really reading into so many different layers. The texture is there. There's smoothness where it needs to be. The colours are vibrant and gorgeous. I just really love how we're transported now away from actually being a landscape and into something completely different. And this is just mind-blowing, guys. Let's talk about this.
Okay, and talk about it we will. Kelly is on 84.
Yeah, I was really conflicted with this, so I'm glad it has a bit of discussion. First and foremost, the composition is extremely strong, and I do love it. What I'm struggling with is the conflict between how busy it is and how bright it is. And I think for me, if there was a little bit more subtlety dealt with in the colour tones, the busyness would then become to the forefront and make it a stronger. That's probably what I'm conflicting with. But yeah, I'm happy to come up from where I am. I'm at a high silver. But yeah, I'd definitely like to hear more discussion.
Okay, I'd like to have Steve make comment, who's on 93.
Yes, 93, so solid gold. Honestly, the reason I didn't bring it up even further, which I would have, is the actual blocked up blacks in both the left and the on top of the third circle to the right. It just goes a little bit too deep for me, but an incredible representation of a galaxy that is now just totally surpassing anything that we can normally see. It's an incredible bit of visual communication. And yeah, that's the only reason I didn't really go up there.
Okie doke. Thank you. Yes, Simone.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Stephen. That's with the blacks. That's why I didn't go to gold distinction, but this is just amazing. There's so much texture and colours even within that bottom half of the image. like I said, I don't see it as a landscape anymore. I see it as an otherworldly thing, and to have that in a landscape and to see that is just so creative, and to have that exceptional vision of being able to present us with something that, as it turned around, we all stayed up there for so long, is sort of looking at it and figuring out, where was this? How did they do that? And for an image to do that for all 5 of us is really important. So yeah, come up a few points, guys.
Okie doke. So Simone, hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Okay, we have a very solid gold at 93. Thank you. Next print, thank you. This is a silver award at 80. David, would you like to make comment, please?
Yeah, look, when I first looked at this and went up close, I thought, "Christ, it looked as though it'd just been over-sharpened." And to take it to the next level, just to make that whole composition just a little bit more subtle, I think would work. Because it's so detailed, it looks as though it's been sharpened, and just like to see that little bit more subtle approach used on this one to take it to maybe a silver distinction.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print is a silver with distinction at 85. Russell, can you make comment on this one, please?
This is a perfect little print. The contrast between the warm and the cool tones are fantastic, and the design of the lines and the cracking right-hand line going down diagonally really... I didn't give any constructive criticism to make it any better, but that's all I got. It's really good.
Yeah. No trouble. All good, and congratulations to the photographer. Next print, please. Sprint score is 78. Could I get, let me see, Kelly, could you make comment, please?
Sure. For me, this is just a little bit overstated and probably too busy. Maybe think about the cropping or condense it down a wee bit.
Thank you. Next print, please. We have a silver award at 81. We have a challenge from Kelly, who scored this as a silver distinction at 86. Thanks, Kelly. Off you go.
Let's have a quick chat about this one. I think this is really quite beautiful and perhaps maybe a little bit missed. I think this is quite a nice, beautiful statement in how nature versus nature a little bit, with those wind patterns all throughout the water, mimicked throughout the sand and the land bars. I think they're just, I think it's just a really interesting study of what perhaps nature can do to nature, or can be nature versus nature in a sense. The colour palette's really beautiful, the print's beautiful, all the award things are there. Sorry, what did it get? Got a silver. Yeah, if we can just maybe push it up a few points and just have a reconsideration, because I think this is something that can be easily missed. So let's have a chat.
Thanks, Kelly. Russell, you're down in the 70s. You'd like to have a talk, please?
I just found it difficult to rest my eyes onto something, and I wanted to go up and have a closer look at what those little black dots are, and there's just nothing there for me. It's nice. The tones are soft. I agree with Kelly, but it just didn't jump out at me.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Steve, who's on 82.
Yeah. So I did award it a good silver, and I actually see where you're coming from in terms of the subtlety. I think in this case, perhaps the pastel is actually working against the image in terms of something like this. And the composition, I'm in total agreement. There's nothing really to allow your eye to flow and rest and things like that. So perhaps a rediscovering of a crop or something like that could have actually made it quite higher.
Kelly?
How funny, it's not often I disagree with you, but in this case, in actual fact, that's why I think it works, because I think the subtlety of the colour palette isn't conflicting with the overall movement and strength with what that wind is creating, and there's a very severe movement downwards, which I think actually bases that and holds it down, and I think that's why the colour palette works, because it doesn't conflict. I think it's just a beautiful art piece, and look, just a couple more points even, but yeah, silver distinction or nice high silver to bring it up.
Thank you. Kelly, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Now we have a really solid silver at 83. Yeah. Well done. Next print, thank you. This print is a solid silver at 83. Okay. Yes, that's fine. No, let's go. So Kelly's on 88, silver with distinction. Now everyone has awarded it. Okay. So
we're there.
You're barking up the right tree, so off you go, Kelly.
Sorry, I'm sick of hearing my voice, but yeah, I can't let it go without at least talking about it. I think this is fantastic, and now I wish I'd actually awarded it more. The textures in this is beautiful. The colour palette, I don't even need to mention all that. It's all there. What really sets this apart is the double... what's it called? The double visualization, where this could almost sort of be from back there. It could be a tree. Those beautiful, whatever it is, a river or the lines leading through. The trunk of a tree. The beautiful green tones could be one of those like flat trees you can almost see out in a desert. And yet, it's actually an aerial. When you get up close, you can see all the details within those little sand bumps and in the water. And it for me, that double. It just takes it to another level. It's really unique. Tell me why you're only at silver.
Okay, let me see. Russell, you're on 80.
Okay, I agree with Kelly. The double visual is quite appealing. I found the hypercolor at the top excessive, and to me it was noisy. So I gave it an 80. I thought it was strong, but not silver distinction.
Okay, Steve, you're on 84.
Yeah, so look, I gave it a really strong silver. And for me, like I saw the two-dimensional representation of a tree instantly as well. When I got up close, I felt that there was nowhere else for this image to kind of excel further into. And I think a lot of that has to do with the actual content of the image as well. It's a very strong visual piece. I just feel that perhaps it needed another element to really kind of bring it through. I actually think the vision of the tree is actually quite obvious, which is great. So it is a strong visual communication. Yeah. So I'd like to hear more, though.
Just before we go back to you, Kelly, is anyone else like to make a comment? David?
Look, I felt to take it to the next level, I wanted to see a little bit more detail as well. It seems to be lacking detail, and we've seen some pictures where it's been incredible detail. So, it's a bright day, so it should be there. But that was the one thing that drew me back, because from here it does look great. Now, I think I've awarded a good score at 82, but just that detail that could have been is there, obviously, but it's not as perfect as it could be.
Kelly.
Okay, I think for me personally, I think I do actually find all the detail there, and I think it's enough. But I do think that by standards of print awards, this is the size it needs to be printed. But for this, it needs to be printed bigger and seen bigger. This is something that needs to be blown up to wall size, be viewed from back and viewed from front, like way back and from front, to really get down to the nitty gritty of it all. I actually love the colour tones between the top aquarine green, and it sets that aside for me, where it seems to be like sort of almost a sky, the tree greenery, and then the tree, and then the earth. And I think that's sort of really says a lot within that composition. But I sort of feel like this is very, very strong and very unique within this category.
Thank you. Kelly, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Does everyone press send? We're going to need some help, I think. Can we just have a blank screen for a moment? Thank you. Your scores aren't coming through, so I just need to reboot the system. But I'll let an expert do it.
15-year-old.
Yeah, with knowledge of this stuff. Sue, we're okay. So this print now scores 84, silver award. Oh, can we just bring that print back just for a second? Now this print scores a silver award, 84. Okay. I'd like to do a judge change just while David's out. Lise, could you... That's great. Next print, please. This print is a silver award at 82. Let's have a look. Russell, could you just make a couple of comments?
Coming from a commercial background, this is extremely strong. Clients would absolutely love it. Only criticism I have is the sort of over heavy use of the colour.
Lovely, thank you. Next print, please. This is a silver with distinction at 87. We have a challenge from Russell, who scored this a gold at 90. So I accept that challenge, Russell, and off you go. You're not alone, by the way.
Okay, I find this really disturbing image, and which excites me because it's so totally different. It's unique. It raises so many questions. It's got that connotation of fish, and it's really scary. But the use of colour is heavy and it's dense, and it takes you to a very different place to what it actually is. And it's a piece of fine art.
Thank you. Let me see. Simone, you're down in the lower 80s, still awarded as a silver.
Yeah, no, I may have been a little bit harsh at 83. I guess for me, I was struggling with the density of the blacks a little bit. I agree with you, Russell. The impact is really, stunning, and the pink and the strength of the colours is really nice. And I was reading the same sort of thing. Is it like a fish? Is it like the chest burster from Alien? I want to read into some really morbid stuff. It's just a couple of things maybe holding me back, but I am listening.
Okay. Steve.
Yeah, look, I'm really confused.
Now, Steve scored at 88.
88.
Yep.
Yes. So I'm really confused, and I love it. I see a decapitated turtle's head coming for you in your nightmares. What I'm mostly confused about, and I was so going to get into those golds, and I probably will, is the kind of texture looking elements of the image, and that circle that's actually happening just above the turtle's head. It's really confusing. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it got there, and I don't know why it's so perfect. But it's so dark and dense that it's really intriguing, and that's why it's great.
Thanks, Ross. Oh, yes. Now, Lisa, by all means. Now, Lisa scored this a gold as well.
So I just wanted to quickly talk to some of your concerns. I'm sure Russell will have his thoughts. I was kind of thinking bird of prey, reaching up, going, ah, like going for you. So it's very dark and deep image. Oh, bird of prey. I thought you said bird of prey. Sorry, husky voice I have today. The halo, I thought, perfectly contrasted with this evil bird of prey going up. So you've got this halo behind an evil creature. And the blacks in this, rather than viewing them as blocked up, contrasting with that textural element that you were looking at, I almost wanted to feel this. This felt like it had been painted with a palette knife and acrylics, and it is amazing to see that in a printed photograph. It's not. I looked at it side on. It's flat. It's not textural. I expected to see raised bumps, so it's been handled brilliantly. Those blocked up parts are part of the textural element. The bird of prey with this angel reverse halo, because it's clearly evil with these reds and blacks. So that's my input to some of your concerns.
Okay, Russell.
Agreeing with Lisa about the texture. I had to take a double take because it looks like it's been sort of spatulaed on. I'm concerned about the photographer. Are they still alive after producing this? And I think their client Marilyn Manson or Nine Inch Nails would love it for their CD cover. It's got so many different uses, this image, and the sort of scrapings going down it adds to it. Everything adds to it. I think it's dark, it's moody, it's exceptional.
Okay, Russell, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. We have a gold award at 91. Uh, 87. So, yes, well done to the photographer. Next print, please. Have a silver award at 83. Kelly, can you make a comment?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just seeing a little bit more density within that middle section just to really bring it out because it's very intriguing.
Thank you. Next print, thanks. Silver award at 82. Russell, can you make a comment, please?
I thought this is really great. The fact that the photographer had timed their flyover, or that maybe they sat the drone there for 8 hours and waited for that shadow to fall exactly in the right place, and it all just comes together beautifully compositionally and tonally.
Thank you. Next print, thank you. We have a silver with distinction at 87 and a challenge from Kelly, who has scored this a gold at 92. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay. Oh, this is stunning. I love this. The colour palette is just phenomenal. It's been dealt with so extremely well in the printing. The gold reflective, it almost looks like gold foil leaf on there. It's just so well handled and so beautifully printed. The subject matter is really intriguing as well, and for me it's like this heart in the middle of this earth that's actually feeding all these textures through, pumping itself through there. The orange in the middle really just sets it aside. Really unique. Compositionally, it's very, very strong. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let me see. Simone, you've scored it well as a silver with distinction.
No, I agree with you, Kelly. I think it's beautiful. The colours are gorgeous, and the colour palette works really well. I believe that the only thing that brought it down from a gold for me was I think the paper choice might not be the greatest for this particular image. Those golds, I wanted them to pop out of the page and really feel like molten, just this liquidy gold, but it's just not getting there, and I wanted to see a little bit more shine and perhaps even slightly bigger because I think there's some great detail in there. I just can't see it because the print is just slightly too small for me. Not that you'd have, obviously you're constrained to the size of the mat, but maybe just bringing it for the width of the sides there, so bring it out a few more couple of centimetres.
Okie doke, let's have a look. Steve, you scored it right on the money there at 86. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do believe that it is a strong silver distinction. I really do enjoy the play on that forced perspective. Yet again, to me, I do see like a 2-dimensional fish thing. And I love the play on colour. I don't know, in order to get it into those awesome fields of gold, to me it is just missing something visually. I don't know whether it's a further depth in towards the narrative or something like that, for me to kind of push it up into that gold region.
Kelly.
Well, as I said, the narrative for me is like this hard, and it's pumping out all these things, even into that seeping little orange speck going into the yellow there. And for me, the golds absolutely pop already. To go too much further, I think would almost, degrade it a little bit. I'd love to see this bigger, happily on a wall again, wall size, really get into that detail. The detail within all those light, subtle colours through there are absolutely stunning. Just the impact, the visually, for me, I think it's quite phenomenal.
Lovely. Kelly, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Okay. This is still a silver with distinction, but it has gone up to 89. Okay. Now that's still fantastic score. Yep. So well done. The process works. Next print, please. This print is a silver award at 80. Could I have comment, let's have a look from Steve, please.
Yeah, it is a great visual example. I do find what stopped me from going even further in terms of a score is the heavy blacks that are just pulling it away. The composition is or does perhaps feel a little bit off balance. And like I mentioned before, that's not such a bad thing sometimes, but I think it's going against this image.
Thank you. Next print, thank you. We have a silver with distinction at 86. We have a challenge from Steve Scalone, who's scored this a gold at 93. Thanks, Steve.
Mm-hmm. beautiful study on the way the wind and the elements and water just kind of rip away the earth. The colour palette in this image is exceptional. The blues, the oranges, the yellows, and the way that compositionally it has been captured and the angle that it has actually been captured at allows your eye to move in and through and around the ridges and then back again. So it's almost like a racing car track, Scalextrics sort of deal where your eye gets to explore and it doesn't allow your eye to rest. However, there's so much detail and information there to be seen that it is a great thing. Just to have another look at it and see it's printed exceptionally well. There's every little bit of detail that needs to be there that is actually there, presented well.
Thanks, Steve. Lisa, you're on 83 silver, but just down on the lower end of the scoring range.
I mean, I love the fact that this is not a directly overhead aerial. I love the interest and I love everything that you said about it. I, however, found the printing was really muddy up around the top. I felt like it was just too dense, that, you know, perhaps with a little bit more lightness of touch, it might have had a lot more impact and had a lot more dimension to the image. I feel like this could look almost 3D without that muddiness, particularly around the top and the right. There's a slight distracting element on the left there. There's a ridge, there's a little line, black line with the ridge, and my eye keeps going to that black line. So, I mean, I know it's a landscape, but we can remove it. I kind of wish it wasn't there. But I'm listening. Talk me through what I see as muddiness as opposed to beautiful printing, and we'll see.
Now, Kelly, you scored this a solid silver with distinction at 88.
Yeah, thanks for challenging. I'm coming up. The more I sit with this, the more I love it. I actually see something a little bit different. For me, this is all about mining, about man's hand on the earth. Those beautiful colour tones are perhaps what us greedy people are wanting to take from the earth to mine. The muddiness is all, for me, it's a complete statement about how we have touched this, earth, and it's really, it's really, really bold angle to be putting in aerial, and I love that. I love that people are thinking outside the square. I think it's phenomenal. I'm going up to gold.
Steve.
I'd never thought I'd actually say this, but without the muddiness, the silkiness doesn't come through with the kind of brighter tones. And to me, I did have a really good look on top where that muddiness is. And there is still that richness there. It is actually quite dark. Perhaps the light hasn't fallen through into those sort of ridges and ditches and gorges, whatever you want to call them, but it is printed to its very limit, which is really, really quite exceptional.
Hey, Steve, hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Okay, the print is now a very solid silver with distinction at 89. So well done. Next print, please. This print is a silver award at 83. Russell, can you give us a little bit of a comment, please?
Again, this is a really very highly polished piece of landscape work, and great to see an industrial version. It's really sensational. I found it hard to fault. I scored it quite high.
Thank you. Next print, please. Okay, this print is a silver with distinction at 89. Okay, I thought this might happen. So we have a challenge. We have two people in the gold range. So I'm going to accept Steve's. Okay.
All right. Okay, so this is an exceptional example of a fine art piece. And it doesn't necessarily, even though we know that it's actually created via scarring the landscape and everything like that, it could just as well as easily been painted via an artist with dabs of yellow paint there, a streak of red, a beautiful smear that's shaped within a circle. Compositionally, absolutely every single element of this works. Down to the kind of triangular piece down in the bottom center, which grounds the rest of the composition. This is such a strong piece. And you look into it and all those scars are actually little bits of tire tracks and road markings and things like that. I'm guessing perhaps, I have no idea, but I'm assuming that it's some sort of farm or some crop that has been sort of cultivated and things like that. And it has been done for many years, and you can see the scars throughout each season. Just the top brown blotches on the top right are actually balanced beautifully with that really sharp triangle on the bottom left. And that balance there is exceptional, down to that little mimic of the bottom right triangle up with that large square on the other opposite lefts and rights. So yeah, really, really, really take a close look at this.
Okay, down at the other end of the scoring range, but still in the award area, is Lisa at 83.
Thank you for challenging this one. I think I've missed it. I was confused when I saw this, to be honest. I liked it, but I couldn't pick why. I couldn't pick a story, and that's essentially why I've scored at 83. But the more I look at it, the more I see other elements. So, more than that to add. I think I got confused and made a mistake. So keep talking to me.
Russell will talk to you. He's on gold at 93.
This has so many elements that balance this absolutely perfectly. Everything that Steve said, I immediately think of that Michelangelo sort of imagery of all the golden mean and all that sort of palaver. But you can see the photographer's hand all over this. They haven't just snapped this from a helicopter hanging out at F4. They've really gone to town on it afterwards. I don't believe for a minute that yellow is as it is, but they have put that in there, and that absolutely adds to it. So the photographer's fingerprints are all over this. This is an absolutely unique piece of art.
Thank you, Steve.
I don't think there's much more that can be said. I just think everything, absolutely every element in this is completely considered.
Thank you. Hold your score, Steve. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Gold award at 93. Next print, please. Sprint score is 79. Let me see. Kelly, could you make comment?
Sure. I wouldn't mind seeing another slight crop of this, as there seems to be a dark side and a light side, and it's just a little bit busy. So consider it a crop.
Thank you. Now I'm just going to make a quick judge change. Steve, have a break. You've been going for over an hour, and I'll bring David back on. Thanks. Next print, please. This print is a silver award at 80. Russell, could you make comment?
I think this is just a really nice image, well seen, nicely printed, not too over the top, nice and subtle. It sits perfectly where it got, so it's well done.
Thank you. Next print, please.
Yeah, just comment. It's a beautiful concept and visually great, but I want to talk this into upper or higher score, so that's why I want to just point out this is all about landscape and texture, and we're losing some of the texture on the character him or herself. So maybe just pulling that back, dropping it down a tiny bit. The highlights just are losing some of the beautiful texture that we should be able to see in that arm and knee. And the trees seem a little bit lost to me. Not so sharp, but great concept. It's really strong.
We have a gold award at 92. Have a challenge from David Oliver, who's awarded this a gold with distinction.
Yes, absolutely.
That's 96, so I accept that, David, and off you go.
Yeah, I mean, how lucky are we to witness this just amazing piece of visual communication. It's an industrial scene, but it's like a piece of art. It could be anything. It could be a plane taking off. There's a face there, but it's just so subtle and well found. And the detail in the textures all the way through is just incredible. It's hard to find anything wrong with this. And You know, I'm wondering why I only went to 96. It's just a beautiful piece. You just love to see that in a gallery, really, really big, because there is so much there. There's so much detail there. Landscapes are hard to move you emotionally, but this does. This is an emotional image that's so well found. You could look at this forever. It's just well done. Unbelievable.
Thank you, David. Now, you're not alone. There's someone else actually on 95, but we're just going to skip down to Russell, who scored at solid silver with distinction at 88.
Yeah, look, I think I've incorrectly scored it. I think I'm suffering from... I've seen this before because I have judged this before. So, because it's the second time I've seen it, maybe I'm a bit immune to it. But I agree, David. It's an absolute winner. So... I'll be changing my score.
Thank you. I'd like to go to Kelly, who scored this a gold with distinction at 95.
Thank you. Russell, the reason why I'm scoring it a gold distinction is because this is the second or third time I've seen it, and the more I sit with it, the more I love it. Like, there's so much more in it than what I even remember previously, and it was such a memorable shot back in the print critiques. The detail is phenomenal. The colour tones are just stunning. That leads you completely through that beautiful composition. It just ticks all the boxes. Exceptional vision, yes. Creativity, yes. Innovation and technique, yes. A high degree of originality, absolutely. Everything. It's just got everything. I'm going to go up.
Well, there you go. David. Write a reply. I don't know if you even need to say a word personally, but it's up to you.
Yeah, no, I just want this to go a lot higher. I can't go any higher. 96 is as high as I can go. But this is just the colour palette. It's just got everything. This is a picture that you go away from the awards and you will remember this image, and you know that will last forever. It's a great image.
Right, rescore. Thanks, guys. Gold with distinction at 96. Well done to the photographer. Next print, please. We have a silver award at 84. We have a challenge from Russell, who scored this gold at 90. Thanks, Russell.
I find this quite unique, and it's got to me, a Japanese sort of calligraphy feel about it. The only thing I was critical of is I found those dark tones just a little too heavy, but I thought what an amazing contrast against the light pastel tones of the rest of the image. It just stands out as something quite unique for mine.
Thanks, Russell. Let me see. Simone, you're just down. You've scored this as silver, but at 82.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Russell. Again, I was sort of held back by the density in those blacks. I went up there and I really wanted to see some detail. There is ever so slightly, but just maybe not enough. But the colour palette is beautiful, and the texture in that sort of creamy area is lovely, and hence why I gave it an 82. Yeah, but I'm listening.
David?
Yeah, I was thinking Japanese as well. That's a song, isn't it? Thinking Japanese. Anyway, I won't sing it. I don't think we need to see that detail in the blacks. It's a strong graphic, so we don't need to see what's in there. So, but no, I'm coming up to silver distinction. I was at 83.
Thank you. Russell, right of reply. Thank you.
I suppose one more thing that I liked about it was the sort of the dimensionality of it is the dark areas seem to sit and hover above the lighter areas on the image, and it takes on another meaning.
Lovely. Russell, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Print is a solid silver with distinction at 87. Thanks. Next print, please. This print is a silver with distinction at 85. Let's have a look. Lisa, do you want to make a comment, please?
Yeah, this image grew and grew on me. I love this Australian continent growing from almost like a placenta at the top and the patterns below. I just think it was beautifully seen. Well done.
Yeah, sure, Russell.
Yeah. Just a quick one. Well done to the photographer for being brave and flipping it and giving us a different look at it. And it reminds me, as a photographer in the 70s, used to hang trees in the midair. So go and have a look at that, and you'll be even more inspired.
Thank you. I was just trying to think of that photographer's name. He's an American. Yeah, okay. It'll come to me. Thank you. Next print, please. Seamaster. Yeah. Silver with distinction at 85. And I think, yep, is that a... Yep, good. Please, nice and loud. Thanks, Johannes. Johannes is challenging. He's on 91.
Hey, yeah, I'm on 91. The only reason I'm not higher and into the distinction range is off the corner on the right, but the detail and the sun, it's like finding a location like this in aerial landscapes, and the detail, and then there's people there. There's like a horse trailer. So there's like two stories. There's from far away. There's the sun, and the beautiful texture of the environment, and a little streak of orange, and then there's another story. The people on the land, almost looks like outer space connotation. I'm really have another look and tell me what you see.
Just before we go to David, I'd just like to go to Russell. Okay, Lisa?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm a little bit with Russell. I definitely saw the rising sun, and I certainly saw something lovely, but I just didn't see much more there to comment on. It's beautifully printed. I'm listening, but I'm comfortable where I am at the moment.
Okay, where are we, David?
Yeah, I think this has got gold written all over it, and we're lucky this is the State Awards, because at the Nationals, I think all this photographer has to do is bring those two sides in to finish on the pipeline, because for me, to the right and to the left, it's not bringing much to the image, but to have it cropped, and you mentioned the sun, it does look like the sun rising, and you've got this beautiful stream of red coming from it, and I just think that crop from left and right, I would love to have heard somebody else sort of mention that, or whether they agreed, but I think that would have made it. That would have been the gold for me anyway.
Thanks, David. Johannes.
Yeah, don't have much to add this time. So, just have another look. The texture in the middle streak of sunburst, it looks like 3D. It looks like it's coming out of the image. It looks like pastel paint. Really quite amazing. I just love it. Reconsider.
Lovely. Okay, Johannes, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. Very solid silver with distinction at 87. I'm just going to get Steve just to sit in for me for a few minutes. But next print.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 87 for this image. Yep. Russell. Well, who'd like to challenge? Okay. Lisa would like to challenge. Hang on, Lisa.
Okay.
You're sitting on 90.
I'm on. Yes.
You've
okay.
got a friend. You've got a friend next to you on 90, and we've got an 84, an 87, and an 82.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll accept your challenge. Go for
No
it.
problem at all. I understand sometimes we hit the wrong buttons. We've heard me do it before too. This is, again, we see lots of things in prints, but this is an amazing textural print, like our bird of prey, turtle poking up. I think this is the planet it came from. It's just amazing. It looks, again, like a palette knife painting. The photographer has imparted texture into a flat print. It is so simple in its beauty. There is nothing to fault in this. There's this beautiful molten planet going out into the universe. It's technically perfect. It should be rewarded with a gold award. I'd like to hear from you.
Thanks, Lisa. Russell, you were also up in the gold range. Can I hear from you as well, please?
I'd like to applaud the photographer for taking their drone so close to the sun, but also, so small down to the protozoa that it looks like. This is an aerial landscape, but it's so much more. It's not literal. It's very interpretive, and it's a beautiful piece of art, and it balances really well. The hot spot in the top left is balanced nicely against the dark blacks on the right. So I'm right there with Lisa.
Thanks, Russell. David, we've got you down in silver range at 82. Would you like to have a chat?
And I will be coming up after listening to your stories, but I guess I wanted to see the vibrance and the energy from the sun, and I went in there and it's just a little bit soft, and I thought, I wanted the nuts and bolts as well. Yeah, but look, yeah, I'll definitely be coming up, but yeah, I'd just like to see a little bit more detail.
Okay, thanks, David. We'll go back to you, Lisa. Write a reply.
Okay, with this being strong oranges and yellows, there is a really fine line between detail and brightness and sickly oversaturation, and I think this one's been handled with the perfect element of subtlety. It's taken right to the edge yet not too far, and even more as I look at it, it looks, to me, this could almost be a very large piece etched into metal with rust, the way it's been created. It is a beautiful, stunning print. I don't think we want it any brighter, and yeah, join us over here up in gold. It's a good place to be.
Thank you, Lisa. So we're currently sitting on 87, so we're not too far off. If you hold your score, I'll get everyone else to rescore, please. Yep, 90, gold award. Well done, guys. All right. We'll reset and we'll go next print, please. Okay, thanks, judges. Looks like we might be having another chat. This image scores 82, silver award. Everyone's happy with that? Yeah, hit that button. All right, Russell vigorously throws his hands up after about 10 seconds and would like to challenge it. Russell, you're sitting on 90, so you're in gold. Just to let you know where you're at, we have an 85, an 82, a 78 and a 76, so there's quite a spread. Go for it.
Okay, initially I looked at this and thought, oh, here we go. It's another shot of a beach with a surfer. But then I got closer to it, and I think it transcends a bit further than that. The fact that there's a lot of movement in there, that the paddler, surfer, whatever, is beautifully blurred. It goes up to another level for mine, and it becomes a nice little, lovely art piece. Find it hard to criticise. I'm not a fan of the hypercolour, but I have to put that aside, and I just think it's a beautiful piece of art, and it's not just an aerial of it, yet another paddler. I think it's more than that.
Thanks, Russell. I might go to Johannes. You want to have a chat? You're sitting on 82.
Yeah, I've seen everything you've seen, Russell. I really enjoyed this image, and I was great to walk up to it and be surprised of the creativity and the blurriness, and I applaud the author for it. What held me back from going into distinction was the crop. I think a square crop probably would, if you crop the top off, you don't need quite as much water on up there, I think. And that sort of held me back, and a little bit too saturated, but I'll probably come up a few more points.
Thanks, Johannes. Kelly, you're down in high professional practice.
I'd definitely like to hear more about this. For me, it's just there's some extreme confusion in there, and my eye just can't seem to settle on anything. Like I'm feeling no direction from the photographer, from the print, to actually give me an indication of where to settle. There's nothing actually physically in focus there, and there's so much movement, and it's so busy that everything seems to be taking me out of the image, not holding me in. Talk to me and tell me how to pull it back in.
Thanks, Kel. Russell, we might have your right of reply, please, mate.
Okay, in answer to Johannes, I find the lighter areas need to be quite large to balance out the heavy aqua on the bottom. So to me, it sort of balances reasonably well. And I think your eye is drawn down to the board, and for me it sits there quite comfortably because there's a sort of lighter toned area below the board, so it doesn't get lost into the darkness. That's about it.
Okay, thanks, Russell. Hold your score at 90, and everyone else could please rescore. Oh, it's gone to 84. It's very strong silver. Thanks, guys. Worth the chat. It averaged 85, but majority 84, so it just about got there. Next print, please. Thanks, folks. This image scores 82, silver award. Pretty consistent scores across the board there. Kel, have you got a comment, a quick comment on this one?
I wouldn't mind seeing this just printed down a wee bit, but the beautiful sweeping lines take me right around that image and then really settle on that beautiful figure. Well done.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kelly. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. We can have some scores in, please. And we have a score of 84, Strong Silver Award. Thank you, David. David would like to challenge. David, you're sitting on 93 in gold.
Yeah, I mean, the lovely subtle lines, it's the artist's palette. It's just beautiful. Going up to that nice deep blue, it takes you on this journey from the bottom of the picture up to the top. And then you've got all this detail. It's just a beautiful piece of communication. And a lot of these pictures, you know, would look fabulous, really, really big in a gallery. And this is one of them. I just think this works really well. Just the swirling of the rivers and the streams coming off that river that's coming through. Yeah, no, I really like this. The colours that are there, from the cold to the warmth. It's just beautiful.
Thanks, David. I think I might hear from Russell. You're on a strong silver at 84 is where it's landed at the moment.
I was agreeing with David on everything here. I didn't go to gold. It was 84. It's the beautiful watercolours feel. I suppose in my mind, the only thing that pulls it down for me is the heavy colours in the top left. To me, the interest is in that sort of bottom 2/3 where the subtle tones are. It's hard to criticise because it is a really lovely image.
Thanks, Russell. Lisa, you're sitting a little bit lower on 78.
Yeah, I actually struggled to put this in the award category. I really loved it, but I was confused by the contrast between sharp and detail and clarity on the left. Sorry, I have to think of my left and right. And the softness on the right. Yeah, the other left. And on the right, for me, some of those lighter areas, it was a lot lighter on the right and crisper and more detailed on the left. And I struggled to come up with the purpose for that. I did love the colours. I loved the flow. So talk me through the contrast there and, why they might be.
David, would you like to explain that? You're right of reply.
Yeah, so I think you've got the contrasting 3 triangles almost top, the one from the bottom left and the one in the middle there, and they reminded me of little dunes with rocky outcrops, and then you've got this river sort of snaking its way through with the subtle colours. So you're going from this lovely, beautiful, subtle palette and moving up to the detail. It's taking you on a journey to that detail, to the top of the river, and I guess that's why I loved it. But
sounds good to me, David. Thank you.
So I want a few more marks, at least a distinction, at least.
All right, so it's sitting on 84 at the moment, folks. David, if you can leave your score where it is, and we'll get everyone else to rescore, please. And the photographer will be very pleased to jump up to 87. Strong silver distinction. Well done, guys. Great discussion. Next print, please. We're just waiting on one score. This image jumps straight in at 90 on gold. Yeah, Russell would like to challenge us. Is he right? No, or would you like a comment? All right, we'll accept this at 90. And if you've got a short comment, Russell, thank you.
Yeah, look, this is amazing. I think Jackson Pollock and Pro Hart had a child, and they came out as a photographer, and it was just absolutely exquisite. It's confusing, it's messy, it's yellow, it's blue, and it's red, so it's covered all the range. So it's absolutely wonderful piece of fine art.
Congratulations to the photographer. 90 straight off the bat's amazing. At this stage, we might give Kelly a break and invite one of our interstate judges, Steve Scalone, back onto the panel. Thanks, Steve. While Steve's settling himself in, we'll go to the next print, please. Next print, please. Next print, please. Keen. Steve's keen. Thank you, judges. We have a score of 78. Could I get a comment from David?
Yes, I love the colour palette, and I like the texture and the grain that I think has been introduced. Beautiful cloud formation above the, like this volcano rising in the background. Yeah, it's got a lot going for it. I love this picture.
Thank you, David. We'll go to the next print, please. Thank you, folks. Very even scoring. 85, silver distinction. Would anyone like to make a quick comment? Go, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah, a great capture. I do feel that perhaps cropping the image in a different way would elevate it even further.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Nice, succinct comments. We'll move on to the next print, please. Thank you, judges. This image scores 79. Thanks, Simone. Would you like a quick comment, please?
Yeah, just a quick one. It's beautiful from back here, but up close it's just a little bit soft. Would have just like a little bit more sharpening, but not too much.
Okay. Thank you, Simone. Thanks for stepping in for Johannes. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. We have a majority score of 79 on this. On this print. Johannes, you'd like to challenge. You're sitting on 85.
I'm sitting on 85. So I just went over line to silver distinction on this one. Beautiful, beautiful tones and simplistic in the way it's been presented. Up close, I thought it's a little bit over sharpened, but I thought it's still over the line to silver distinction. But I think 79. I think we can probably look at it again, and I think it should really sit in the silver range. Like the tones, the color palette, the way the light's been handled, it's really beautiful.
Thanks, Johannes. Steve, you'd like to make a comment, please?
Yeah, I did notice what the photographer was seeing here, but there are those technical issues which I feel that can't be overlooked, which is why I kind of scored it as a professional standard. But in order for it to actually get up into those award ranges, there not only does need to be perhaps more of a focal point, but it just needs to be handled a little bit more subtly as well.
Thanks, Steve. Lisa, you've seen something in this. You're on 84, so...
Yeah, I'm almost with Johannes, and I didn't move into the silver distinction because of the over-sharpening. You're right. This image, to me, doesn't need a focal point. It's ethereal. It's like... I got a slight emotional feel of almost like I'm not religious, but a heavenly being glowing from below the sea. So for me, that was the focal point, and it was beautiful. The colour's beautiful, the tones are beautiful. It's just too sharp for this type of an image. I think it's worthy of a silver. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. Johannes, your right of reply.
Okay, yeah, like Lisa said, it's an image that can make you feel, which I think is, really good on the author. And I think it should. I believe it should be in the silver range. So maybe come up with me to silver.
Thanks, Johannes. So Johannes is asking you for a silver. It's 79 at the moment. If you hold your score, we'll get a rescore from everyone else. Great discussion, folks. This has moved into 81. So silver award. Well done. The photographer will be stoked with that. So we'll move on to the next print, please. Okay. We have an average score of 88, a majority score of 90. So that's a gold award straight up. Everyone's happy? Are you going to challenge David? David, are you going to challenge?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yep. Do you want to hit your button?
Press the button.
Yeah, no. No, I need vigorous replies to the panel, please. All right, so David Oliver chooses to challenge after all that.
Absolutely,
Dave,
yeah.
Just to let everyone know, David is sitting on 96 in gold distinction. There's a couple in 90 already, 90 and 91. And we've got an 83 and an 82. So go for it after that vigorous response.
Have you guys got a spaceship over here that's taking you somewhere else? I mean, I don't know where these landscapes are coming from. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Just, you've got this oyster in the middle of this sort of estuary. It's just fascinating. You've got all the elements, the angles, the triangles leading to the little pearl in the middle of that island. And then you've got those little white areas to the right that lead off of it. It's just sensational. I'd love to see this giant size. And we will on that big screen. But it would just blow up so beautifully. There is so much there, so much detail, so much information, but so subtle. The highlights, normally I would say, highlights wandering out the top, and you'd pull it down for that. But in this case, I think it balances really well with the highlight coming from the bottom. It's like a tree rising out of the land. It's just sensational. Well done. We're lucky to see this.
Thank you, David. So we're in gold at the moment on 90. Russell, you're sitting on that at the moment. Have you got anything to add? No? Okay. Lisa, you're down in silver. You're sitting in silver at the moment.
Prices are down.
On 82. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely hearing everything you said, and I honestly can't fault it. I just hadn't seen probably the beauty that you saw. So all I can say is yeah, I'm taking a second look and listening.
Russell's back in. You only get 2 chances, Russell. Russell's on 90 at the moment.
Man, a few words. Okay. I think what we need to look at is, okay, has the photographer, can you see the photographer's input on this? And I can see the photographer's input. It's not just a shot that they've taken and gone bang. They've actually done a lot of thought into it. And one really subtle piece of it, which I love, is just the way that tiny little tendril ends right at the bottom. You know, that has been cropped exactly where it should be. It just sits delicately and on the bottom of the image, and the lighter tones up the top are really, really well handled. There's no lack of detail anywhere. It's all in there.
Thanks, Russell. David, I might get you to respond or close it out. Thanks.
Close it out. Wow. Yeah, I just want to leave it there for another half an hour. Just that little Nike stripe at the bottom there holding it together. You're right. And the balance of the where the water sort of starts on the right being a little bit lower to where it is on the left. It's all out of kilter, but it's working beautifully with that little island in the middle. So, yeah, I'd love to see this go ballistic.
Okay, David's asking for ballistic. He's on 96. If you hold your score, we'll get everyone else to rescore. Thanks. A little bit of ballistic movement to 93, which is a very, very solid gold. Great discussion, guys. All right, let's reset. And next print, please. Thanks, folks. That's silver at 81. Yeah, Hannes, would you like to make a comment on this? Quick one.
Yeah, I love this image. It's like a water rat, you know, just about to be eaten by a stingray. Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Cheers, mate. Next print, please. Thanks, guys. We have a majority 84 for this at present. Steve Scalone, as requested, has shot his hand up straight away. Steve, you're sitting at 93. So you've got 85, 84, 82 and 79 to work with. So go for it.
It got 84.
It got 84.
Cool. So I don't have that much work to do. preferably, hopefully not. The graphic in this image, it is so symmetrical but so not symmetrical. It's placed, but it's not. I don't know. I start to lose words when you start to get into golds and things like that. Now, obviously, perhaps in this situation, the B doubles or the road trains are parked and things like that. And for this to actually be captured like that, the orange and those little dots of green is just perfect in terms of the complementary colours. The two kind of engines or the two prime movers is perfect. If there was a third one, it actually wouldn't work and it'll take that balance away. Really have a look at the subtle texture. This has been deliberately, carefully considered throughout every stage, including the printing, the post-production and everything like that. So please, I'd like to hear why you haven't.
Thanks, Steve. Lisa, you're sort of sitting right on the average at the moment at 84.
Yeah, I saw everything that you saw. It was visually pleasing. For me, it just lacked that level of sharpness. It could be by virtue of it being a drone as opposed to a camera. Could be a quality thing or overly cropped in. But I can't fault the composition like yourself. It's stunning and the colours are stunning. It was just the actual quality of the image.
Thanks, Lisa. David, you're sitting on 79 at the moment. What say
I
you?
purposely sat on the fence. I wanted to listen to some discussion here from your commercial guys, because what I saw was the shadows all around the trucks that sort of, to me, needed to be maybe brought up to the same consistency of the rest of the landscape. So it was that shadowing that I haven't put it down. I'm just sitting there waiting for the explanation, and I'm just worried about that. That's the darkest point of the image. I love the patterns, I love the texture, love the trucks, one going one way, one going the other, the design, and I'm talking myself up.
All right, so you've saved Steve a little bit of work, but finish it off, Steve.
Yeah, so without shadow, you have no depth. So I feel that if it was completely flat, and I don't feel that the shadows are actually muddy at any stage or anything like that. It's the design and the forethought. Like even those rows of the train on, there's some that are whiter than others, is I guess what my main point is. But the little green dots, and getting back to how sharp it is, I do feel that there is an appropriate amount of sharpness, or even an appropriate amount of softness, whichever way you kind of hang. I don't think that it's soft. I don't think it's ever kind of reached its limit of the print or the print file. I just, design-wise, it's an incredible image.
Thank you, Steve. So, Steve, you hold your score on 93. It's currently on 84, guys. If you could rescore. Russell, can you pop your score in, please? Thank you, guys. We have a score of 86, silver distinction. Well done. Congratulations to the author. Can we have a blank screen, please? That's the end of the subcategory of aerial. Well done. We'll reset the live stream and we'll get into the next category, which I think is the single capture subcategory. So, yeah. I'll hand you over to Greg Hocking and he can drive.